How do you make a Saiyan get enraged? It's very easy. Mess with those they love and respect. And yes, that's how Vegeta surpasses Goku at the beginning of Dragon Ball Super, and how he will bring to us, after more than 290 years, the true legendary Super Saiyan. Ready for this feat, and still don't know how it will be? Stay tuned, and watch until the end of this video. Go now to subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and activate the bell. The legend of the legendary Super Saiyan in Dragon Ball is one of the oldest and most mysterious myths of the Saiyan race. It is mentioned for the first time in the Namek Saga, when Vegeta tells the story of a warrior who would appear every 1,000 years, with power so great that he surpassed all other Saiyans, and because of that, was feared even by Frieza. For a long time, fans speculated if this legendary warrior would be Goku, Broly, or even Bardock. However, Akira Toriyama revealed in 2018 that the true legendary Super Saiyan was Yamoshi. According to him, Yamoshi lived long before the events of the series, in an era when planet Vegeta wasn't even the home of the Saiyans yet. He was a Saiyan with a just heart who, along with 5 companions, started a rebellion against the evil warriors of his race. Cornered, Yamoshi transformed into the first Super Saiyan in history, shocking everyone with his fighting style and power. Despite being defeated for being outnumbered, his spirit continued to wander the universe in search of 6 pure-hearted Saiyans to perform a ritual that would give rise to the Super Saiyan God. It is precisely this energy that Goku invokes in the movie Battle of Gods. The original Broly from the old non-canon movies was created by Toei Animation as its own interpretation of this legend. A unique warrior with uncontrollable power and a distinct appearance, green-yellowish hair, massive body, and lack of pupils. In the canonical version of Dragon Ball Super, Broly, he maintains the exceptional form and power, but is not explicitly called legendary in the historical sense. His strength is treated as a rare case, but not directly connected to Yamoshi. But if we look closely at the current facts, who else besides Vegeta carries more of the weight and parallel to Yamoshi? So, yes, through Vegeta, the legendary Super Saiyan lives. Yamoshi and Vegeta share a bond that goes beyond power. Both carry, in different ways, the weight and pride of being Saiyans. Yamoshi lived in an era when his race was immersed in violence and greed, and even so, tried to guide it to a more just path, fighting against his own kind to save them from themselves. Vegeta, on the other hand, grew up as a prince in a world already marked by Frieza's domination, watching his race be used and then destroyed. At first, his pride was almost arrogance, a belief that the Saiyans were superior and that he, as heir, should be the strongest. Over time, however, that pride transformed into something more mature, the will to honor the memory of his people and protect the few who remained. While Yamoshi fought to change the present of his time, Vegeta fights to preserve what is left of the past. One sought to reform, the other seeks to keep alive, deep down. Both are driven by the same impulse, not to let the essence of the Saiyans disappear, but each walked that path in his own way, shaped by circumstances and the losses he faced. Well, that said, let's get to the theme of the video, starting with the part where Vegeta, without transforming into Super Saiyan 3, surpassed Goku for that brief moment. As Master Roshi said, among his many outbursts of rage lies his true essence, often the focused and controlled fury that keeps shaping Vegeta more and more. And so we know the starting point, and the push he needs to move one level further, and finally surpass himself. And this moment is closer than you can even imagine. Frieza finally kills Beerus and sets up the key moment of his plan. But what he did not expect was a completely, quote, crazy, unquote, Vegeta. And yes, Vegeta totally loses control when this happens, and it is exactly this that is missing for Vegeta to finally become truly worthy of being a Hakaishin of Universe 7. And this is a delicate moment. You're not understanding anything, right? Well, let's go deeper so you can understand. Vegeta, the Saiyan who respects his masters. We've seen this many times, how he is a disciplined guy, and beyond that, the respect he generates is what remains, and he greatly respects those of equal power, or those who seek more and more strength. Thus, he built a relationship of years with Kakarot, and now, this is reflected with Beerus, his training, the moments of evolution, and the factor of master and student. This grew more and became evident while Beerus was training Vegeta to master the energy of destruction, entrusting that power to Vegeta. And Vegeta respects and admires this a lot, because he understands that, like it or not, Beerus made a bet on him, And he didn't disappoint. He went there right away and came up with Ultra Ego. But after that, he got badly beaten by Frieza. Not only him, but Goku too. Vegeta now needs more than ever to go crazy. In a good way. He needs an explosion of energy, just like he did back then against Beerus himself when he hit Bulma. We'll emphasize this shortly, but for now, we know this can happen in several ways. But to center the video, we'll talk only about the way it will fit Frieza and his plan to become a god of destruction. And for that, he has to kill none other than Beerus. We don't know the level that Frieza is at now, but if this happens, Whis cannot interfere, and it will be the moment of Vegeta's true fury, such that it will be compared to Broly's. Even though he has the history of knowing how to control himself, sometimes we need to get a little crazy. The relationship between Vegeta and Beerus is one of the most complex and interesting in Dragon Ball Super, because it is never expressed directly as a traditional bond of master and student, but reveals itself gradually as a dynamic of forced respect, contained fear, silent learning, and mainly, humility acquired through pain. Different from what happens between Goku and Whis, where there is an almost friendly relationship of open and explicit training, Vegeta and Beerus have a much harsher connection, full of tension, wounded pride, and evolution through observation and frustration. Vegeta does not call Beerus his master, but he knows he needs to learn from him. And Beerus, in turn, sees potential in Vegeta, even if he never admits it out loud. Since the first contact between the two, when Beerus arrives on Earth searching for the Super Saiyan God and threatens to destroy everything, Vegeta acts with a paralyzing fear that he has rarely shown with any other being. Seeing him easily defeat Goku, Majin Buu, and even challenge time and space itself with his presence, Vegeta understands that he is facing something far beyond his comprehension of strength. But the most significant thing is that, even with fear, he acts to protect Bulma when she is assaulted. In that instant, he reaches an explosive power, perhaps not enough to win, but enough to surprise Beerus himself. And that plants the first seed of respect. Beerus begins to see that Vegeta, despite being proud and rude, has layers that go beyond the pursuit of power. He has honor, loyalty, and passion. Later, in the resurrection of Frieza arc, Vegeta begins to train with Whis, but not because Beerus accepted him, but because he tolerates him. Beerus never positions himself as a direct teacher of Vegeta. He doesn't teach with words, doesn't guide his movements, but he is always present, like a shadow that imposes an almost unreachable standard. The figure of Beerus serves for Vegeta to constantly realize how small he still is before the true top of the cosmic hierarchy. Every gesture of Beerus, every fight he interrupts with a finger, every acidic comment or veiled threat serves as a reminder to Vegeta. He is still crawling in the universe of the gods. However, as time passes, Beerus begins to interact more directly with Vegeta. In the Granola arc, this relationship changes radically. For the first time, Beerus calls Vegeta for personal training, separate from Goku. And this gesture by itself is already significant. Vegeta does not ask for it. Beerus offers it. But what happens next is even more intense. Beerus begins the training by forcing Vegeta to face the sins of his race. He reveals that the Scions were only tools of destruction, and that there is no point in blaming yourself or trying to redeem the acts of the past. To master the power of destruction, the Hakai, it is necessary to free yourself from all emotional ties. Vegeta, who has always fought based on pride, guilt, and loyalty, now needs to unlearn all of this. Beerus, in a brutal and dry way, forces Vegeta to break his deepest convictions. This training is not about techniques, it is about ideology. Beerus teaches Vegeta not with advice, but with mental confrontations. He burns his armor, destroys his certainties, mocks his morality, and forces him to accept that destruction, in the divine sense, is not cruelty. It is a function of the balance of the universe. Vegeta then begins to understand that Beerus does not want him to copy Goku, does not want him to reach Ultra Instinct. He needs something different. He needs pure destruction, channeled with conviction, without guilt, without hesitation. And that is where Ultra Ego is born. This new form is the materialization of Beerus's teaching. It is the philosophy of the god of destruction applied to the essence of Vegeta. Unlike Ultra Instinct, which is based on calmness and evasion, Ultra Ego feeds on offense, on surrendering to the fight, on the pleasure of receiving damage and continuing forward. And this is totally coherent with Vegeta's personality. He is not Goku. He never will be. And Beerus makes this clear by pushing him in this opposite direction. The curious thing is that Even after this, Beerus continues treating Vegeta with sarcasm, impatience, and superiority. He does not praise him, does not recognize his progress with kindness, but he allows Vegeta to remain by his side, and that, coming from Beerus, is already a kind of approval. Deep down, he knows that Vegeta is getting closer and closer to understanding the true nature of destruction. And Vegeta himself, even without admitting it, internalizes Beerus as a true master. Not in the traditional sense, but as someone who guided him to a new path, who gave him a type of power that no other being had offered. Their dynamic is, therefore, an inverted, silent, uncomfortable, but deep master-disciple relationship. There are no compliments, no direct recognition, but there are results. And that is what matters for both. Vegeta does not need Beerus to say that he is proud. He only needs to prove, to himself, that he is capable of reaching something that not even Goku, nor the other gods, expected from him. And Vegeta understands this well, because he is like this with Cabba and with Trunks himself. The relationship between Vegeta and future Trunks, which is, without a doubt, one of the most emotional and complex of the entire Dragon Ball franchise. The interesting thing is that, with him, Vegeta maintains his tough, rational, and little affectionate posture, but the pain, pride, and deep affection are revealed stronger than ever. And just like with Cabba, and even with Beerus, Vegeta exercises this role of master without ever seeming like a traditional master. He does not teach with words, but with presence, action, and demand. And it is precisely this that makes the bond with future Trunks so special. The peak of their relationship occurs in the Goku Black arc. Years later, when future Trunks returns desperate, asking for help, there we already see a different Vegeta, more mature, but still proud. At first, he faces him with coldness, but as soon as he sees the gravity of the situation, he embarks alongside Goku towards the future. And there, in the middle of destruction, Vegeta begins to act like never before. He does not just fight for Trunks. He protects him, inspires him, pushes him beyond his own limits. They train together, face Zamasu side by side, and for the first time fight as true equals. Trunks grows absurdly as a warrior, not because of Goku's advice, but because of Vegeta's example. Trunks' pride in relation to his father is evident in every look, and Vegeta's pride for his son is veiled, but visible in every attitude. He no longer needs to say anything. He is there with him until the end. And there is a key moment that marks this transformation. When Vegeta sees future Trunks trying to protect the people of his world, even being weak, even without chances, he changes. Vegeta then attacks Goku Black with true anger. And it is not anger only for the enemy. It is anger for seeing his son suffering, for seeing that boy fighting alone for so long. And later, when Trunks tries to sacrifice himself, Vegeta stops him, tells him to stay alive, protect the others, and win. It is one of the rare moments where Vegeta clearly positions himself as a father. There is no need for a hug. There is no "I love you." But there are words, and those words, coming from Vegeta, have immense weight. Even one of the most beautiful and symbolic moments of this relationship happens when the two fight together, in perfect synchronicity, against Zamasu, a father and a son from two different timelines, but united by a bond that transcends time. They fight as equals, think the same way, protect each other. And in that moment, Vegeta is not just fighting for justice, nor for pride. He is fighting for Trunks, for everything he represents, for everything he survived. And when everything ends and Trunks' future is lost, destroyed by Zeno's presence, Vegeta is the first to understand his son's pain. He does not cry, he does not scream, but his silence speaks more than any dramatic reaction. He knows that Trunks lost his entire world, again, and even if he cannot fix it, he is by his side until the end. This relationship between the two is, in a way, the purest form of affection that Vegeta can offer. He is the type of father who forms warriors, not with caresses, but with toughness. But behind this facade, Trunks feels and understands how much Vegeta cares. And because of this, the trust between them is unshakable. Trunks never doubts his father, and Vegeta, even if he doesn't say it, is immensely proud of his son. Vegeta has always been a character marked by pride, calculated coldness, and the obsession with surpassing his own limits, especially when it comes to rivalry with Goku. However, behind all this rigidity, there are moments throughout the franchise where he completely loses control, whether from frustration, pain, hatred, guilt, or even love. These episodes are crucial to understand how the Prince of the Scions is, perhaps, the most human character among the warriors of the universe, precisely because he does not hide his falls and emotional outbursts. It is also important to remember a more subtle, but very symbolic moment. The instant when Vegeta loses control because of Bulma. This happens when Beerus, the god of destruction, slaps her during the birthday party. Vegeta explodes. It no longer matters who is in front of him. For the first time, he momentarily surpasses Goku's power. His rage at seeing Bulma being hurt is something that breaks any limit he had. He doesn't think, he just attacks. His scream at that instant is almost animalistic. This is a Vegeta who lost control not out of pride, but out of love. It is one of the few moments where positive emotional strength, the bond with someone, pushes him further than rage or the desire to surpass. In the manga, this moment doesn't exist. It was an anime-exclusive edition, precisely to give more depth to his relationship with Bulma and to humanize the character even more. In the Tournament of Power, this duality returns. When Top transforms into a god of destruction and throws in Vegeta's face, that emotional attachment weakens him. The prince explodes with a new power, Super Saiyan Blue evolution. But unlike previous outbursts, this is a controlled loss of control. He channels the pride, the rage, and the love for his family into a stable power. He does not surrender to chaos, but masters it. This is a reflection of his maturity. The anime focuses a lot on this, with prolonged scenes and lines about his promise to Kaba, to Bulma, and to Bra. In the manga, the transformation occurs in a more technical way, with less emotional emphasis, giving a colder tone to the advancement. And this is how he will overcome many things, through the strength he gains by going crazy.